Today, we will be dissecting a brown rat to give you a detailed look at its muscle structure and organs. And, of course, welcome to our Museum Beetles channel, and thank you for watching. We hope you will enjoy. The brown rat, also known as the Norway rat, is one of the most adaptable and globally dominant mammals. This animal has spread to nearly every continent and thrives in diverse habitats, often closely linked to human activity. From forests to fields and from urban sewers to suburban basements, its remarkable adaptability is a key reason for its global success. In the wild, the brown rat typically has brownish-gray fur, helping it blend into outdoor surroundings. The specimen we see here is partly white, which is not a natural coloration. However, this is not due to albinism. Albino rats lack melanin entirely due to a genetic mutation, resulting in fully white fur and red or pink eyes. In this case, the partial whiteness is the result of selective breeding for domestic color patterns. Those colors don't appear in wild populations because it offers no survival advantage. Albino rats were originally bred in laboratories for their predictable genetics and docile temperament, making them ideal for scientific studies. Their genetic consistency allows for controlled experiments, and their calm nature makes them easy to handle. Over time, albino rats became the foundation for laboratory strains, used to study physiology, genetics, and diseases. While they remain common in research settings, albino rats are also kept as pets, though most pet rats today are bred in a wide range of colors and patterns. Just like this one. The rat's sense of smell is finely tuned, allowing it to detect food from far distances. In fact, its sense of smell is so sensitive that it can detect changes in the chemical makeup of its surroundings, which is why rats are sometimes trained to sniff out landmines or even diagnose diseases like tuberculosis. Surrounding the nose, the whiskers or vibrissae act as a sensory tool, detecting obstacles, air currents, and textures to help the rat navigate tight spaces, even in total darkness. Rats have relatively poor eyesight and are primarily dichromatic, meaning they see the world in muted colors, mostly blues and greens. Instead of relying on sight, they depend heavily on their other senses. Still, their eyes are adapted for low light conditions, giving them an advantage in the dim environments they often inhabit. Rats have large, round ears, and unlike their eyes, their hearing is really sharp. Rats can detect sounds at frequencies much higher than humans can hear. In fact, they communicate using ultrasonic vocalizations, which are beyond our range of hearing. Baby rats, for example, emit high-pitched distress calls to their mothers, and adult rats use similar sounds during social interactions. If you have ever seen a rat gnawing through wood, concrete, or even metal, you have witnessed the power of its teeth. Rats have a pair of large, ever-growing incisors on both the top and bottom jaw. These teeth are self-sharpening thanks to a process where the softer dentin on the back of the tooth wears down faster than the harder enamel on the front. This constant gnawing isn't just a habit, it's a necessity. Without regular wear, the incisors would grow too long, preventing the rat from eating and eventually leading to its death. The rat is quadrupedal, meaning it moves on all fours. Its forelimbs are shorter and more dexterous, with 5 digits used for grasping food, much like how we use our hands. If you have ever seen a rat sit up and nibble on something, you have seen that coordination in action. The hind limbs are longer and more muscular, built for leaping and climbing and sprinting. This blend of power and precision makes the rat impressively versatile in all kinds of terrain. The tail of a brown rat is long, thin, and mostly hairless, covered in scale-like ridges rather than fur. It might seem like a simple appendage, but it serves several important functions. First, it acts as a counterbalance, helping the rat stay stable while climbing or making sharp turns. Second, it plays a role in thermoregulation. Since rats have few sweat glands, they rely on their tail to release excess heat. Blood vessels in the tail expand to allow heat to escape, helping the rat regulate its body temperature. Time to start skinning, and an interesting fact while doing so. So, when you think of rats and diseases, the Black Death of the Middle Ages likely comes to mind. But the brown rat wasn't a culprit. It was the black rat, which was far more common in Europe at that time. The plague was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, and its spread relied on fleas. These fleas would feed on infected rats, and the bacteria would clog the digestive systems of the fleas. Starving, but unable to properly digest its meal, the flea would bite host after host, both animals and humans, regurgitating the bacteria into its victims and spreading the infection. Infected black rats often died from the disease themselves, leading to episodic outbreaks where localized rat die-offs forced fleas to jump to new hosts, including humans. Over time, the black rat lost its dominance. The brown rat, larger, more aggressive and well-suited to cold climates and urban life, outcompeted the black rat across Europe and North America. Wild brown rats can carry diseases such as leptospirosis, hantavirus and salmonellosis, which spread through contact with their urine, droppings or fleas. However, these risks are limited to wild populations. Pet rats, when kept in clean, well-maintained indoor environments, face minimal exposure to these pathogens and are generally healthy and safe companions. With their intelligence, affectionate nature and playful behavior, they make truly amazing pets. Another fun fact is that though the brown rat is also known as the Norway rat, the brown rat doesn't originate from Norway. The widely accepted explanation is that the scientist who named the species thought that the rat arrived in England on ships from Norway. In reality, the brown rat originates from northern China and spread worldwide through trade routes. The musculature of rats and humans is surprisingly similar, because we both belong to the mammalian class, meaning we share a common evolutionary ancestor. Over millions of years, this shared blueprint for muscle structure has been refined and adapted, but many key features remain the same. The pectorals refer to the entire group of chest muscles, which includes the pectoralis major and pectoralis minor, found in both rats and humans. The pectoralis major is the largest and most powerful muscle in this group, responsible for powerful arm and forelimb movements like pushing or climbing. The pectoralis minor lies underneath the pectoralis major and helps stabilize the shoulder blades and assists in movement like pulling the shoulder forward and downward. In both rats and humans, the deltoid wraps around the shoulder, allowing the forelimb or arm to lift and rotate. In rats, this muscle is essential for climbing and positioning their paws for grasping, much like how it allows humans to lift objects or raise their arms overhead. Moving down the forelimb, you will find the biceps brachii on the front and the triceps brachii on the back, forming a classic antagonistic pair. The biceps flexes the paw, like when a rat pulls food to its mouth while the triceps extends it, allowing rats to push off surfaces during a jump or humans to straighten their arm during a push-up. This antagonistic system works by coordination between opposing muscles. When the biceps contracts, the triceps relaxes, and when the triceps contracts, the biceps relaxes. At the back of the thigh, we have the biceps femoris, part of the hamstring group. Just like in humans, this muscle is responsible for flexing the knee and extending the hip. Whenever this rat sprinted or jumped, its biceps femoris contracted to pull its leg back, the same way our hamstrings help us bend our leg when running or climbing stairs. On the opposite side, we have the vastus lateralis, part of the quadriceps group, or quads as we call them. Its job is to extend the leg forward, generating the force needed for jumping or running, just like our quads do when we jog or take off for a jump. This is the gastrocnemius, the biggest part of the calf muscle. Like in humans, it teams up with the soleus to push the foot down during powerful moves. That's how we jump, sprint, or stand on our toes. In rats, it gives them the explosive kick they need to leap from danger or scramble up rough surfaces with ease. Finally, we have the tibialis anterior, located along the shin. Its job is to lift the toes upward, a motion called dorsiflexion. In humans, this prevents us from tripping when we walk or run. In rats, it's equally essential when climbing or making quick directional changes. Let's move to the core muscles. These are the external obliques, which covers most of the front and side of the abdomen. It stabilizes the abdomen and supports movement with twisting and bending the body. In humans, you use them when you twist your torso during a workout or reach across your body. In rats, these muscles are finely tuned for quick darting motions. The external obliques work with deeper abdominal muscles, such as the internal obliques and transverse abdominis, to provide core stability and assist with breathing. The rectus abdominis, part of what we call our six-pack, helps rats bend, curl and stabilize their bodies. In humans, we engage it during sit-ups or bending at the waist. You see this white line running down the middle of the belly? That's the linea alba, a tough band of connective tissue that splits the left and right sides of the rectus abdominis. In humans, it's what gives the six-pack its signature divide, but it's not just for looks. It acts like a central anchor for core muscles like the rectus abdominis and obliques, helping keep the abdominal wall stable while still letting you twist, bend and crunch with ease. Okay, so finally we will show you the location of some of the organs. Many of the organs you are about to see are nearly identical to ours in structure and function. This is one reason why rats are often used in medical research, helping scientists study human diseases and treatments. So, to show you the organs properly, I also opened the rib cage. This upper cavity is called the thoracic cavity, and the lower cavity is called the abdominal cavity. They are separated by the diaphragm, a flap of muscle that is important for breathing. Involuntary spasms of this diaphragm is what gives you the hiccups. This is the windpipe, also known as trachea. It has a ribbed structure just like ours. You can feel this same ribbed structure by touching your own throat. These rings are made of cartilage and keep your throat open so air can flow freely to the lungs. The tube that runs behind the trachea is the esophagus. This is where food travels down to the stomach. The trachea runs down to the lungs, where gas exchange occurs. The lungs bring oxygen into the body through the bloodstream and remove carbon dioxide. This is the heart. And on top of the heart, you find the thymus. The thymus is in both humans and rats most active during early life. Its primary function is to produce and mature T cells, a type of white blood cell, which play a crucial role in the immune system by helping the body fight infections. It's particularly large and active in young rats and children because the body needs to build a strong immune system during development. As both rats and humans age, the thymus shrinks, a process called involution, and it becomes less active. The liver is the largest organ in the abdominal cavity. Its main functions are to filter and detoxify blood, to produce proteins and immune cells, and to make bile that helps with the digestion of fats. The liver exists out of multiple lobes. The esophagus leads to the stomach, this pouch-like structure. The structure right next to it is the spleen. The spleen is an organ that filters and recycles all the red blood cells, stores white blood cells and platelets, and helps the body fight infections by detecting and responding to pathogens. You can live without a spleen because other organs like the liver and lymph nodes can take over many of its functions, but it will leave you more vulnerable to infections. Here you have the small intestine, a long coiled tube where most digestion and nutrient absorption takes place. The remaining material moves into the large intestine, where water and electrolytes are reabsorbed, and beneficial bacteria help further digest plant materials. It also stores feces before it is ready being expelled. When we remove the intestines, you can see the kidneys, two bean-shaped organs located along the back wall of the abdominal cavity. The kidney's main job is to filter waste products, excess water, and toxins from the blood, forming urine. The filtered blood returns to circulation, while the waste is carried away through tubes called ureters. These are the testes. They produce sperm and testosterone. Their relatively large size reflects the rat's high reproductive rate. Sperm mature in the epididymis before being transported through the reproductive tract to the urethra, where they exit the body during mating. And on that note, it's time for this video to make its exit too. Thank you so much for watching! We hope you learned something new today. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and don't hesitate to drop any questions in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Hope to see you next time!